Hello and welcome to SIMRADIO here on the Thursday Music Network. It's Monday Music Madness, and you're tuned into Mixing It with Nicki Kris. This is Nicki, and in case you don't know anything about me, I'm a singer-songwriter from Raleigh, North Carolina. My show celebrates women in the music and entertainment industry, providing an avenue for them to showcase their talent. Our motto, Sisters in Music, together we are stronger. My guest today is a singer-songwriter from Texas who is the driving force behind the Americana Country-Rock Band, Suzanne Band. Her live shows are a blend of music covering the last 7 decades and are usually a mix of classic rock, pop, and country. With her recent acceptance into the Recording Academy and her rapid development as an established YouTube artist, she's certainly a force to be reckoned with. Please join me in welcoming the awesome Suzanne Walker. Welcome to Mixin' It, Suzanne. How are you?
Hi, Nicki, and hi, everyone, all the listeners listening. I'm doing great. It's an exciting time.
First and foremost, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how Suzanne's band formed?
Like you mentioned, I'm a singer-songwriter from the Houston area, more specifically the West Side, where Clint Black and Renee Zellweger and different names that might be familiar came from that side. And I've always been involved in music. I was in choirs growing up, a worship pastor at church for a while. I've always done things like that. But after I had raised all my children pretty much, I knew I wanted to do something important with music for the rest of my time on earth, however long I get. And decided to start playing instruments. And I picked up the guitar, and it just sort of opened the doorway for all these songs to come to play. And I started writing more music, and then I found myself running over to the piano to do chords on there because it felt a little easier, and then it just kind of morphed from there. Somebody suggested, why don't you sell those songs? And I thought, I can't sell them. They're like babies. You know, if I'm going to use them, I'm going to play them myself. And then I decided I needed a band for that, so it just kind of went from there. And I developed the recording band first and then started playing solo for a while, and then gradually added other performing band members to my group. As you know, sometimes it's a different skill set between the recording studio and what people can do live, and also time. You know, different people have different time elements to their day that make them a better candidate for one thing or another.
Absolutely. I certainly run into that myself, as many of us do, especially if we depend on other musicians to back us up, which I do quite frequently. What sets your music apart? What is it unique? Why do I want to go see Suzanne's band in concert?
Our original songs have very meaningful lyrics, and we try and put that Americana folk edge to, even when we do covers, when we do that live, we try and give it something a little bit special that you might not hear with the original songs. And of course, you got the different things that the other musicians do to make it sound a little bit different as well. So it's not exactly like the original, but it's something that we've tweaked to make it our own.
Awesome. And what about your main musical influences? I mean, obviously I've said that you cover material from the past 7 decades, right? So that's a lot of different types of music. Do you have any specific main musical influences that you draw upon?
Definitely. I mean, the Beatles chord structures, I like some of those. I like the harmonies that Little Big Town and different groups like that have in them. Those are some of the influences. ELO, the songwriting skills of Jeff Lynne and George Harrison were just, astounding, some of the things that they did. And so I kind of pull from each of those. And the reason why we do so many different decades is that a lot of times when we're playing live, you have people from all generations in your audiences typically, and it makes us a little bit more, sellable, for lack of a better terminology, out there when we're trying to find gigs, which is hard enough as it is. And the more we know, the more marketable we are as a band too. And I think it helps. If there was a weak area, I would say it's in the top 40. We definitely probably wouldn't classify ourselves as a top 40 band.
Yeah, but, and top 40 is actually tough nowadays, to be honest, right? Yeah. I mean, I struggle because I've never really done covers. There's one or two covers that I do. I actually tend to stick to more older songs as well. But there's a couple of songs as of late that I listen to that are more recent, that my kids are listening to, that I'm like, oh, I could do a cover of this, and I would do it this way, and they're just the way that it is. Well, sometimes you just have to do something different. But you have some great musical influences, because ELO, Jeff Lynne, is absolutely one of my favorites as well. So excited to hear his name pop up. He's fantastic. He's phenomenal.
One of the current singers that I've really enjoyed listening to is Ruby Amanfu. I don't know how to say her name right to save my life, but she's from her artist name is Her, H-E-R, and she does this fantastic song, Hard Place. And whenever I do that live, it's so emotional, what I put into it, that everybody just stops what they're doing. And we recently filmed some video of our live show we did recently, and so I'm hoping that it came out well, because I'm going to definitely put that on my YouTube channel.
Definitely. She is fantastic. Saw her perform at, which award show? I don't know, 2 years ago. Last year they did virtual. So maybe 2 years ago, and she was one of the highlights of the show. She is fantastic.
Nice. Yeah,
really fantastic. Well, let's talk about some of your originals, because I know that you have some new music coming out. You've got some recent releases, right? And then you've also brought a couple of things to share with you. So what's going on? What are some of the things that the band is working on?
Yes, we definitely have originals that have been done. There's one EP and one full album, Back to You, and all the associated videos along with all those. And then my first Christmas song I had done a couple of years ago, One More Night of Christmas, and I enjoyed doing that so much, I thought, I've got to do another one. So I came up with Underneath the Tree, and that was out as of November 5th. So it's exciting to have another Christmas song like that out. Now, this one is a little bit more Americana in its feel. I definitely am in my lane with this creation, whereas the first Christmas song was more Karen Carpenter, old school Christmas, which I felt like we needed, to get some of that in there, that those types of songs were very special, and it was an homage to that. But with Underneath the Tree, definitely in my lane, good old Americana-based song with little strings and acoustic guitar, but still the meaningful lyrics that are in there. Not saying I won't ever do a song where I just repeat several words, and make a song out of it, but I feel like those things that give a message and just speak to people, those are the songs that can do really well too, and that just seems to be where my gift lies for the writing of those songs that evoke emotion or build a picture. They build a picture of what this person is doing at that time. And it kind of flows into our new album too, Ice and Fire. Should be coming out in February. So we're excited about that. That should be about 7 songs. And there will be some blues type songs on that, something different I forayed into, but still staying in that Americana feel, and one that sounds a little bit more pop, and all of them having, that picturesque picturesque feel to them, where they kind of build a feeling and a picture of where somebody's at the time with each song.
And you certainly do a wonderful job of telling the story based upon what I have listened to, the songs, couple of songs that you share with me, plus I've actually gone out on your website and done some, Spotify searching, all that fun stuff. Definitely have a knack for telling the story, and we're going to get into a little bit of the songwriting a little bit later in the interview, but right now you did a perfect job of teeing up the first song that we're going to share with everyone, your Christmas song, which we actually played on the first ever Sim holiday show, which the first episode aired just a short time ago on the 5th of December. So everybody, if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. But right now, we're going to play it again for you. This is Underneath the Tree by Suzanne Band.
Underneath the tree is a peaceful manger scene. Little baby king, animals, and wise men 3. Ornaments and candy canes, covered in lights of red and green that blink on and off. And at the very top, an angel sways to heart-played melodies. Underneath the tree is where love grows. The magic of the season unfolds. It's not an ordinary day. Share the holiday spirit away. All around the tree, pretty presents wrapped a mystery. For children big and small, see the wonder of it all, and the joy for those who believe. Underneath the tree is where love grows. The magic of the season unfolds. It's not an ordinary day. Share the holiday spirit away. Love yourself enough to give the gift that matters most. Love the one around you, feel the warmth, hold them close. Raise your glass, make a toast to another year, here goes. Underneath the tree is where love grows. The magic of the season unfolds. It's not an ordinary day. Share the holiday spirit away. Underneath the tree is where love grows. The magic of the season unfolds. It's not an ordinary day. Share the holiday spirit away. Underneath the tree, underneath the tree. Underneath the tree.
Absolutely fabulous.
Thank
I can hear that
Thank
in
you.
like you're welcome. You're welcome. I can actually hear that in like one, like a Hallmark movie or something.
Yes,
One of those
yes.
like Lifetime movies. Because it's got that vibe.
Yeah.
Love it. Really,
Thank
really
you.
love it. You're quite welcome.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier with like trying to find shows and touring and things like that. I mean, obviously, COVID pandemic put a damper in a lot of that stuff, but I mean, has it started to pick up? I mean, Houston's pretty large. I mean, how is it going with like booking live gigs and things like that?
Yes, I mean, you would think as big of a city as this is, that it would be a little easier, but unfortunately, it is definitely still, I hate to say this, but it is still a male-dominated country band kind of, atmosphere, that there's just so much of that I've run into, that seems to be the main thing that a lot of places want, or, you'll have some places that just want top 40, or some that want jazz, you'll have the jazz band type clubs, or, have things like that. I even went into this one place, and I kid you not, I gave the lady my card, and I said, I'd really like to play live here. And she goes, well, have you heard of all these different bands? And they were all male bands. And I said, yes. I said, I've heard of those. And I said, wouldn't it be great, to have a female as your performer, or a female fronted band? And she said, yeah, I'll have to pass it along to my manager. Never heard back, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's 2021. Come on. We shouldn't be having these struggles, but they're there, and you just kind of roll with it and take what you can get. And thank goodness there's some good gigging places online, where you can register and get some other types of gigs, whether it's weddings or funerals or parties, or, widen your horizons and, try and get into some of those things, and those work too. So, and I'm still plugging away, still watch for where other people are playing, and try and go to some of those places and drop my card off, and see if we'd be a good fit for that type of establishment, and try coffee bars and wine bars, all the usual things, and go from there.
What about
keep plugging away?
Festivals? Yeah, I mean it's tough, because I do know.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting too, because even recently we had a Sisters in Music Sim Jam, we called it, in New York City, and they were actually very, very welcoming. I was very, very impressed with this venue, because they were extremely accommodating and very much like, yeah, sure, we're going to put everybody on the website and all this stuff there. It was really, really great. Of course, now I've been a little bit spoiled, because now I'm like trying to plan something for a different city, and nobody's getting back to me.
Yeah, it's like crickets.
Not in the sick. Yeah, it's like, it is. It's like crickets. It's like crickets, and you're like going, well, okay. And it's tough too, because if you aren't local to the city, you're relying on phone, email, those types of things. And, when you leave a message, they don't have to call you back, or you send an email, they don't have to respond to you. So,
right.
It is. I'm glad that at least you're able to walk in and say, here's my card, and, this is what we do. And you are correct. There are a lot of other opportunities and things like that. And we're also looking at festivals, because I do know that festivals are having a tough time right now booking a lot of different types of bands and things like that. So that might be an avenue for you to look at too. All kinds of, different festivals all over the place. But it'll get there. I think it'll get there. I do, definitely hate the whole male-female thing, but unfortunately, it is what it is. But we will change that eventually at some point in time. We just got to keep sticking with it, lugging along.
Right.
So you mentioned your YouTube channel earlier. It is amazing. Are you going to be doing more videos? I know you said you were going to be doing at least one or two with the new album. What else can we expect?
Yes. Like I said, we did some live video recently, so I'm hoping to add those definitely as soon as possible. And then I would like to do a music video where I'm actually dancing, because I do have that in my arsenal, and I haven't gotten to do one of those. So it's definitely on my bucket list. And I have a feeling, especially the song Ice and Fire, that's definitely one of those good, slinky kind of dance type songs that I think would be a really good one for that type of video. So definitely in the works. And the only song off the Back to You album that I haven't gotten a video for is Fault in My Stars, and it was supposed to be a dance video, and then that's when COVID happened. So all that got shelved.
Oh, no.
And so I may go back and do a dance video for that while I'm doing the other one too, just to finish it out, because I feel like it needs to be complete. I hate that. It's like a loose end, you know? Like, I think I need to finish this.
And I love seeing that artists do the videos, because I am so bad with that. I'm very bad with that. I tend to do, if I do a video, it ends up being like a lyric video, something very simplistic. I have an anime video for one of my songs, and then I have one video that I actually recorded myself for one of the songs. And that's one of the ones that I'm like, oh, this came out pretty good. Maybe I should do more of those. But, yeah, it's just, I struggle with the whole video thing, but it is really great to see that people do upload videos to their channel. And I'm trying to get a little bit better with that. But we are going to take a quick break here from a word from one of our partners in podcasting. This is my partner in crime, Natalie Jean, with Chatting with Nat. We'll be right back on the SIMRADIO Network.
Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.
And we're back on Mixing It with Nicki Kris on the SIMRADIO Network. And my guest, Suzanne Walker. Let's switch gears a bit before we share the second song that you brought with you, which I love, by the way, also. But we won't get into that yet. You're welcome. Has being accepted into the Recording Academy as a voting member put more pressure on you as a musician and a songwriter?
Yeah, I think it has, because I feel like, the bar's been set a little bit higher, and you feel like, oh man, I need to do so much more to, make my songs sound like everybody else's. So I have to realize that, I still need to be true to who I am as an artist and not try and necessarily make my song sound like, Billie Eilish or Bruno Mars or somebody out there that, is maybe higher up in the food chain as far as, votes and getting songs out, and then just stay in my lane and, like I said, be true to who I am and what my music is, and then just grow from there.
Do you think, and, obviously I'm a member as well as Natalie, do you think, though, that, a lot of people sit there and say, oh, I have to win a Grammy, I have to do this. I don't look at it that way. I'm curious as to see how you view it. In my opinion, it's an honor to be a member, to be included in the echelon group, if you will, right? The echelon, if that's how you say it. The elite, right? Because people do submit to be members and don't get accepted. And, they do have a limit of who they actually invite in and invite to become a member. There are requirements around it. Does that, really define you as an artist? I think it's a privilege. It's great. We get to vote on music. I think even having music just on the first round ballot is a significant accomplishment, because they do not accept everything, contrary to what other people think and say. To me, that in and of itself is, I'm happy, right? I'm happy. Yeah, obviously everybody wants to get a nomination. Everybody wants to win a Grammy, but is that like your goal? Is that your defining, oh my God, this is what I really, really want to accomplish, and this means do you have that urge, I guess?
Yeah, I would say not, and it's just based on, a couple of factors. First, when I was brought into the Grammys, it was during COVID. That was one of the good things that came out of COVID for me was, being able to be a part of that process, because at the time that was happening, we were pushing through all of the programs to try and help musicians, all those things that were happening to help small businesses and get musicians and all the associated people involved in the music industry get our voices heard. So when I got involved in all that, it was like a whole nother facet of what the Recording Academy is about. And that kind of, opened my eyes to all the other aspects that are involved in that. And being a part of a group like that it's, the Grammy Awards are just like, way up there, as far as they're the tip of the iceberg in this thing, but there's so many other supportive things that happen within that I think that kind of fills up my mind and my heart more as far as contributing in those areas. If I were to be nominated, that's wonderful, but it's certainly not an end goal, or definitely not anything that defines me as an artist, because there's so much good that can be done within the organization just based on, making laws and changing programs so that the music industry and everybody involved in it is a little bit more comfortable, in our benefits.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I agree with you 110%. And I'm, definitely, I think that the advocacy work that they do, and the
it's amazing.
I mean, that to me, that is where it's at. It's the advocacy work. It's, being I'm part of the songwriters wing. I'm assuming that you are as well. It's, facilitating those young budding songwriters and focusing on bringing up the next generation and making sure that they're adequately paid and adequately compensated, and providing, different types of programs for musicians in need, whether it be for mental health or for, substance abuse or so on and so forth. So awesome. We are on the same page with that. So fabulous. Yeah. Fantastic. As a songwriter, how do you know when a song is ready to be recorded?
Oh, that's a good question. Several factors come into play on it. Obviously, it's got, everything written out, the basics. It's got, a whole package. But one thing I will do, too, is I've got some songwriter mentors, I guess, that, I'll run things by and I'll say, does this, make sense? Is everything the way it should be? And unfortunately, my nickname is Longbridge, because if I have a songwriting weakness, I tend to make my bridges too long. So, like, oh, man, don't let the person check out where they're listening to the song right at this point. So I have to work on, it's one thing I have to think about when I'm writing a song is, what's the bridge like? And definitely watch that area. But, like the Christmas song that we just heard, it initially had some different lines in the verses, and I changed it so that it is more descriptive of Christmas itself, instead of bouncing back and forth between a relationship between two people and Christmas, which it kind of was that way to start. And I focused just more on the Christmas aspect of the song, and it made it flow better. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely will say that the song definitely flows. So whatever you did to change it was definitely the right move in that regard.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't know what it sounded like before that, but I like the way it ended up. So let's talk about the second song that you brought with you, By the Bayou. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we're going to pop that on for everybody.
Yeah, and just to preface that, this is a rough mix. It's not the final mix. And even since I sent that song over, we've sped up the track some, so it's not dragging as much, and made a few other changes within it production-wise. So, but definitely wanted everybody to hear a little snippet of that so you can tell what we're working on and some of the elements that will be in the new album. Like it will incorporate some harmonica and mandolin and things that I hadn't done before. And the other neat thing is that this is the Christmas song, and this one were the first items that I've been producer on. So it was a whole new hat to wear. And with By the Bayou, this song was written a lot slower initially, and it was almost like, I don't want to say depressive, but it was definitely a low-key song. And then when I changed the way the song went and redid some of the lyrics, all of a sudden it was bouncy. You know, I thought, oh, well, this is cool. We can do this and this and this with it. And it is kind of based on some truth. The best songs are, you know, when you start getting truthful about how you feel or something that happened, it's a lot easier to connect, and I think people can feel that too. So, yes, there is a Mason Road.
Awesome. Well, we are going to pop this in for everyone. This is By the Bayou from Suzanne's band. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Down Mason Road by the bayou, lazy late afternoon, just me and you, wearing nothing but smiles in the waving grass, kisses, cases of sweet wine, looking at tan lines, and there was more than that. Summer days ended, but the heat was on.
you know what? It doesn't even sound like it's like a first mix. It sounds fantastic.
Oh.
So I can only imagine what the final version is going to sound like. Before we run out of time and sign off and say goodbye to everybody, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? What about where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, definitely. We have a website. It's Suzanne'sBand.com, and you can usually get to all the social media outlets through there. We have a Facebook page. It's Suzanne's Band Music, and the website and the Facebook page are probably the two most current things, or the places where posts get posted the quickest regarding upcoming shows or music that's coming out, different things like that. We also have Instagram and Twitter, and obviously we have a YouTube channel, as we talked about, where you can watch videos, and my distributor will post any new songs there, and they will obviously come out there first before a video might be attached to it, so that's always a good place to listen as well. You can buy all the songs through all the usual suspects, whether it's iTunes or Apple Music or, you know, any of those types of outlets that you use. It's on Spotify as well, and Pandora. Wherever it is you like to find your music, it should be there.
Fabulously fantastic. Suzanne, thank you so very much for joining me today. Suzanne Walker from Suzanne's Band, calling in.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Houston. You're quite welcome. The Houston, Texas area. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into Mixing It. On behalf of everyone at Sim Radio, this is Nicki Kris. Until next time, keep on, what do we say? We say keep on mixing it.
Mixing it.